Hello, Margaret Coolman here of Soul Astrology. New moon in Gemini is pretty much bound to be about communicating, and it's absolutely on Venus. She's just pulling past from behind the sun, moving ahead now. But it emphasizes that it's communicating in relationship, about relationship, very close, about how we are connecting with each other, feeling connected, whether we do or not. It's about love. Gemini is generally light-hearted when it comes to words, so it's not necessarily romantic exchanges, although it could be. But it's the love between friends, the love between people, and the love of all things, and being prepared to share about that. However, it's all square to Saturn in Pisces. So although it's light of itself, the sense is that Saturn, the circumstances that we're all living through, be they near or far, are a little heavier emotionally. That actually words take time to come from there. It's more about the feeling, and the feeling could be quite heavy. Something about, is it okay to enjoy ourselves when so much of the world is suffering? With the new moon in Venus trining the south node, sextiling the north node in Aries, I think the answer is yes, it's fine to enjoy ourselves. It's more joy the better. It's not counter to the difficulty and pain of others. It's somehow balancing so that the whole human archetype gets worked, not just the heavy end. Added to all of this, we have Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury, who rules Gemini, and Jupiter, who expands everything he touches, also in Gemini. So a lot of words. They're trine Pluto. Both ends of that trine, sextile Neptune in Pisces. The very, very end of Pisces. There could be so many fresh and new ideas that it's difficult to nail them down. They come thick and fast. It's like a cornucopia of innovation pouring out. But it's not about manifestation, just the expression of the ideas. And one of the difficulties which I find when that many ideas are floating about is constantly being distracted, so quite difficult to focus. Perhaps the best thought is just to allow the ideas to flow through. And if you have pencil and paper handy, or your smartphone, to make a note of those that stand out particularly for you. We don't know which will be relevant in the future. And for the moment, perhaps what we're doing the first half of this month is giving ourselves a mental workout, getting it moving, like going to the gym in the spring and making sure all the muscles work, clearing away where the dust has settled, having a fresh look at everything. The other thing that also follows this new moon by a day or two, that first week after the new moon, up until the 12th or 13th, Sun and Venus will be squaring the Saturn, followed by Mercury, who catches up with them by then, and also Mars changing sign from Aries into Taurus, slowing down, but in the process squaring Pluto. So one way and another, it looks like quite an uncomfortable week. On a personal level, Mars moving into Taurus is about being able to bring our ideas into the physical. Mars into Taurus is the practical side of life action, taking action, but not in that very forceful forward way of Aries, the driving force, but rather steadily and in a way inexorably. To square Pluto, who is just into Aquarius, we're finding the two principles that rule Scorpio at odds with each other. I think of squares as being a lack of understanding between the two ends. What's required is to make an effort to actually understand each other. Mars in Taurus is a drive to do things in the earth practically, to make a physical difference, a material difference. Pluto in Aquarius is still looking at overthrowing the old systems, the systems that have proliferated during the age of Pisces, where individual consciousness was not required. Now individual consciousness is required by Aquarius. And we could be looking at the immovable object, the Mars in Taurus, faced with the unstoppable force of Pluto, the future moving inexorably into view. The important thing I feel with all of this is that we don't get personally caught up in conflict, and that we don't demand too much of the world, of each other, or of ourselves. It's very much about allowing ourselves to not know what is moving, how things are going to turn out, what should be done in the present moment. Just follow through in your own life, doing what feels necessary at each moment, and taking time out. The energy being in Taurus, the earth, creates a sense of great healing when you get near nature. It's like enlivening our connection with nature, and that of course affects the body. It will be very, very helpful to our body's health to be in touch with nature, to walk among trees, to stand on the earth. And Taurus is prepared to take its time, so there isn't that impatient pressure that you get from Aries. So without making great demands on each other, without complaining about the circumstances, having an open mind, and being prepared to look at all sorts of ideas, no matter whether you've previously agreed with them or not, just have a look, check out what's happening, find out more information. And there is no need to conflict with anyone. Anyone presenting you with a different view is giving you more information. There is that which we like and that which we don't like. We can approve or not. We can feel at home with or not. But it's all just information. Stack it up on the side and keep going. Jupiter will continue in Gemini until this time next year, June 25. So although the personal planets move forward right round the chart in that time, there will be the basic background of opening minds, waking up, sharing ideas, instead of getting entrenched behind barriers, which may well have been going on for the last year at least, as Jupiter went through Taurus. By the time of the full moon, the 22nd of June, the Sun will have just pushed past the solstice point into Cancer, and the full moon opposing it will be in Capricorn. On the 17th of June, just before this, Mercury and Venus had together squared Neptune and shifted into Cancer. So the full moon is the day after the Sun has done the same thing. From squaring Saturn at the new moon, it squares Neptune at the full moon. What often happens with squares to Neptune is mistaken expressions, misrepresentations, statements that turn out to be false, true statements that are disregarded or misunderstood. There are generally misunderstandings during those squares, but Neptune is still holding that position between its sextile to Pluto and the sextile to Uranus. And Pluto connects in to Jupiter still. So the outer planets are still working together, still advising us. It's still clear what needs to be done in a way. It's just that the full moon moment, perhaps following the 17th of June, doesn't necessarily agree with that, or finds that they need to take a different position from what was expected. In general terms, in world terms, the moon represents the people. It could show up as an effort to, in a sense, gaslight the people. That is to say, make the people feel responsible, when actually the people have not had much power lately. And to what degree can one be held responsible as an individual in world terms? Now, who knows what all this is about? I'm just reading the symbols to the best I can, but I have no idea what they might turn out to represent. Just that I would suggest that we keep open minds, that if anything is directed in a global way at the public, that we actually endeavour to find out how much of it is really true. It's something about listening to your inner and doing the best you can according to your own lights, not just following on what you've been told. There are always more sides than one. And in this time of information abundance, it should be possible to find out more than one is initially given. However, whether we do or don't find out anything, it's keep an open mind. And above all, don't fall into conflict with those close to you. There is no need for that. If we cannot keep clear of conflict in our private lives, how can we expect the world to be at peace? A beautiful aspect in that full moon chart is the quincunx from Pluto to the Sun, as though amongst all the informational stuff, the AI, the let's be detached and sort it all out, amongst all of that, the changes into Aquarius require some care and respect and kindness, some empathy, in fact. And there's the Sun, Venus and Mercury already in Cancer, ready to empathize, ready to help, ready to care, appreciating that there is a part of humanity suffering, and that means that a part of each one of us is suffering in some way internally. I think this whole month is characterized by that need to not conflict, to not fight, to work at it. The more of us who can maintain reasonable harmony in our relationships through respectfulness and open-mindedness, the more we bring light to the rest of humanity. That's our job. And on a personal level, even more personal, let's go for having new ideas, a new look at the things we've been doing, a fresh clear-out maybe, a rearrangement, a reassessment. When you let go of fear, reveling in information can be a lot of fun. And you certainly find out a whole lot more when you do it in that way. and much love to your endeavours and blessings. Thank you. The sky of heaven is blue. Clouds blow up from the sea, bringing rain over the land, growing all species and their food. Beyond the blue is a universe of stars and energy, bathing us all in stardust and an infinity of rays. The clouds that obscure your light blew up from the sea of human emotions and rain in your life to grow you. Open your thoughts from your troubled life to encompass the myriad forms beyond understanding. The wind of wonder will blow your mind clear, releasing the wings of your heart to fly with love into the blue.